Right on. What kind of dog do you have?
So I have two, a 14-month-old Great Dane and
Oh.
yeah, and a 13-year-old cattle dog.
Oh.
The cattle dog, I'm his third home, and
Oh,
then
okay.
Layla's mom was a humane case pull.
Oh.
So her mom was put in foster, and she had her puppies, and then I foster failed with Layla.
That would be me 100%, Tony. Totally me. I'm like, I cannot. And my girlfriend's the same way. It's like we can't foster.
Yeah,
There's no way. I'm keeping you. Come on.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
All right. Well, we just go into it. It's very relaxed.
Yep.
I edit everything. It's not live. And we can talk as long or as short as you want to. I leave that up to you pretty much, like whatever your schedule is, you know. Um and What else was I going to say to you? There was something else, but I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yep.
Just wanted to know, can you see the ticker, and is that okay with you? Did I spell everything correctly, your name?
Wellness podcast, Toni Unleashed. You got it.
All right. I tried to get a little bit of everything on there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and you pronounce your last name Shelaske?
You got it.
All right. All right, cool. Toni Shelaske, you are an entrepreneur, but your focus seems to be with pets and also helping other entrepreneurs. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got interested in pets, and are there, dogs in particular, cats, or everything? Like, tell me a little bit about that journey.
So, oh boy, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank
Same.
you.
I'm thrilled to have you.
Thank you. So, my journey in the pet space honestly started about 25 years ago.
Hmm.
I had an aging dog, and she was not able to hold her bladder all day long while I was at work years
Hmm.
ago when I worked retail management. And I thought to myself, do I put her in a daycare? Because daycares were just popping up at that time.
Hmm.
And so I pulled out the yellow pages because this was the 90s. I pulled
Yes.
out the yellow pages and I saw a listing that said home alone pet sitting. And I
Hmm.
called this woman up and said, "What exactly do you do?" And she said, "Well, I can come to your house and I let dogs out and I stay for a half an hour, and that's what
Mhm.
I do." So, long story short, that was my first. She did exactly what I needed, and she took
Mhm.
great care of Princess. Left me
Yep.
a little note,
Mhm.
and I said, "I think I want to do this." So my first business was having my own pet sitting business, and I did that for 8 years.
Yep.
So
Excellent.
that's, our pets, I really believe, kind of are guardian angels in a way, and kind of pinball us through life. And Princess absolutely was the big factor in what got me into the pet space.
It's very interesting how there's that one dog, usually for me and for you, it was like
Yep.
that just kind of led us down that road, and usually health, same thing, and
Yep.
research, and then before you know it, yes.
Yep.
Yes, you're doing the stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So where are you located now? I read that in your bio that you were in Pittsburgh and you sold a very successful
Hmm.
pet business, right?
Hmm.
So are
Hmm.
you still in Pittsburgh?
So I live in Pittsburgh full time.
Mhm.
And after pet sitting is when I got into healthy. I opened the store. My first store led to a second, led to a third. So I
Nice.
had healthy pet products, retail stores for 16 years.
When
Um,
did you start that? When did you go
so
from your dog getting ill and, working through that and opening up your own retail spot?
Yeah. So, I burned myself out of pet sitting and did that for eight years.
Mm-hmm.
And another kind of wild thing was Healthy Pet Products was actually already a locally owned pet food store, and it had a natural twist to it. They had grain-free
Mm-hmm.
foods. They didn't carry like Kibbles and Bits and Beneful and the Purina and that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. And they literally were in my backyard.
Nice.
So and it was a tiny little store. It was only about 1,000 square feet. So when
Yeah.
I would walk my dog, and this is Meg, when I would walk
Mm-hmm.
my dog, I would stop in and get treats and talk to the owners. And you know how the whole thing begins. You get
Right.
to know them and they love your dog and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But I couldn't shop there except for treats because they didn't sell raw food. And yeah, I've been feeding my dogs raw for about 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, they, after 4 years in business, decided to move, and they did not want to relocate the business. They just wanted to sell the business. So prior to pet sitting, I had an extensive retail management background.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, this could be it. Like, I have the retail background. I have that knowledge, and I already know about natural pet foods. I could really grow this.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to my dad and mom, of course, but dad was kind of like my business mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, go for it. So I did.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how that happened.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's what a great journey. Yeah, that's awesome. And then you you eventually sold that business, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then where did you go from there? Did you go straight into the podcast, or did you?
Yeah.
What else did you do? Consulting,
I
consulting.
Yeah, I had 2 other businesses in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
In that 16 years, I purchased a grooming shop.
Nice.
COVID killed that grooming shop. It wasn't a healthy, viable business going into COVID. And
Mm-hmm.
COVID, as you know, was really tough on the service industry.
It definitely.
So I closed that, and then tried my hand too. I partnered with some local guys that have a really great boarding and daycare facility. Again, same thing. Timing was bad, and COVID killed that.
Right.
So I, being an entrepreneur, really always need to be creating something. So with Healthy Pet Products, after like year 13, year 14, I'm like, okay, I've got 3 stores, and my third store is huge. My third store is 8,800 square feet.
Damn, that's big.
Yeah, with a full grooming salon, and I have a massive walk-in freezer for frozen food. So I'm like, I need to do something. And my passion is really to spread the message about how important it is to feed healthier foods to our dogs and cats. So I thought, let's do a podcast. So I started that in 2022. So before I sold Healthy Pet Products, I started the podcast. And my grand plan was, okay, I'll get this podcast off the ground, get it successful, pull my salary out of Healthy Pet Products, empower my executive management team to kind of take over Healthy Pet Products.
Right.
But it just didn't work. And not to the fault of anyone. I just didn't really have enough time to focus on the podcast. It's as you know, it's a lot of work.
Yep. It is, especially when you're doing it all yourself.
Correct.
You know, you're setting up, you're producing, you're editing, you're posting, you're sharing, you're writing, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's a
And
lot.
I'm the kind of person, I'm sure you are too, that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right, or I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. I just got this equipment. Actually, I bought this Black Friday, like in November. I literally just unpacked it because last Saturday I do a national radio show I co-host with my friend John. It's his show, Talking Pets. And I haven't been on in forever. And it's like, he's like, hey, can you come on this weekend? Absolutely. He goes, we have to do a sound test with the networks. And we did that. And I had to get this stuff prior to, and it just
Yeah.
so happened it worked out. So I was like, okay, I need to test this out on Tony.
Yeah.
Check it out.
I'm the guinea pig.
You are. I did a test run, of course, but you know how that is with technology and stuff.
Yeah.
You could do tests and you go to edit it and it's like,
Oh,
oh no, but I don't think that's going to happen because I think the test was pretty good. But yeah, it's everything. And it's an expense too that you do put in,
yeah.
equipment and that type of thing and time and that. So yeah. But I love it. It absolutely works for me because I love to talk, but you also have the skill of, and you have the knowledge of all the retail and the raw food diet and all that. And I love that because I'm right there with you
Awesome.
on that. Yeah. Tell me how you got interested in raw food. What was your
Huh.
introduction?
That was another universal aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally was walking into a grooming shop and just to inquire about their services.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, as I walked in, I witnessed the groomer handing her collie a raw chicken leg.
Nice.
And again, this is going back, this is late 90s.
That's
So
before it was cool.
before it was cool, before,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yes, yes.
Really,
So
exactly.
I love that you think it's cool now because I still
It
wonder.
that everybody thinks it's so cool, but
Okay.
we've been doing this forever. You and I, we're old school. We've been doing this
Yes.
forever based on
Yes.
our own pets' experiences brought us to these places. So yes,
Yes.
I'm right with you.
So
Mhm.
I'm not shy, as you clearly can probably tell. And I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You cannot feed your dog raw chicken, especially the leg bone. You're going to kill your
Oh,
dog."
yes.
So we just had a conversation and she told me
Mhm.
about these couple of books and literally a light bulb went off in my head. And I
Mhm.
was like, duh. And I've always kind of been a healthy eater. My
Yeah.
parents were of the um, Depression era.
Yep.
So we're home cookers.
Mhm.
I was raised that
That's right.
way. So she recommended a couple of books. One of them was Dr. Ian Billinghurst's. Mind
My
blowing.
man.
My
My
man.
man. Yep.
Like I was
Yeah.
in love with him. Like
Same.
he's a god, right? He's the
Did
pioneer.
did you go let me just ask you, you didn't go?
Uh-uh.
I went that was my I first APDT conference was
Really?
him in
Oh,
Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken.
oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I just saw that video pop up, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago on YouTube, and I was like, "Get out of here." I was in that audience.
Oh,
I
that's wild.
think it was his first time into the States.
Yeah.
I don't know if he started, his first um, conference was in California, but this was his first time with APDT. And so, yes, I was going to ask you, was it Ian? So yeah,
Yep.
brilliant,
Yep.
just brilliant.
Yep. And his book, Give Your Dog a Bone,
Okay.
was the first book I read. And so my dog at the time, her name was Meg,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a shelter dog and she was
Mm-hmm.
eating Purina One at the shelter, and I just kept on feeding Purina One. And but when I found out about the raw food and read his book, I literally cold turkeyed Meg from Purina One to raw food the next day, and 100%. And I don't, recommend that to clients, but
I did it
um,
too, though. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like just to be
Yeah.
on the safe side. But
Sure.
Meg, we never looked back. Like there were
Right.
no digestive issues. She didn't have diarrhea, she didn't throw up, there were no issues. And she
Right.
was a totally different dog. Even though
Mhm.
she was a healthy dog already, she was a completely different dog in 3 months.
Absolutely.
So, and that was, I had a hard time even finding it then.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of it. And was it complete and balanced? Hell no. I guarantee you it wasn't complete and balanced. But it was fresh whole foods. And I would intermittently like order. There's a great place in Ohio that does raw food that I occasionally would ship it in. So she would get that balance. She would
Yep.
get, I could get Instinct from a local pet food store here.
Right.
So when I bought healthy pet products, the first thing I did was bring in a freezer. And
Yes.
yeah, that's the first thing I
Mhm.
did. And one
Yeah.
freezer led to another, led to another, led to
Mhm.
another. And then when I moved into larger locations, I put in walk-in freezers in all of my stores.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
and it's just my last dying breath will be
Mhm.
about how important it is to feed better pet food. And even if it's
Yeah.
not raw food, you've got to feed a better kibble. You've got to look at
Right.
the ingredients on treats. You
Mhm.
you
Everything. And there's I mean, there's so many pet foods and there's so many different formulas, but I find that it's like, and I don't know how you feel about it, but the ones that are maybe limited ingredients are usually a bit better. And some of the grain-free ones, um, they're using fillers too, but they're using different fillers. So, you
yeah,
know, and what's their source? And are the treats made in the United States and, not overseas where the standards, I mean, our standards are for dog food, as you know, is pretty low
terrible.
anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, so yeah, there's so much to look at, but absolutely. Yeah, because, you know, a lot of people feed old Roy still, and maybe that's all they can afford, but and you do this too, I'm sure. You try and explain to them, well, maybe you're going to pay a little bit more now, but you're going to save in your vet bill, in your
mhm.
grooming bill, if you have a dog that needs to be groomed, especially,
Yep, yep.
um, ear infections. It's
It's
crazy.
it's the scratching, the paw licking. There's so much obesity,
Mhm.
diabetes,
Yep.
cancer. I
Yep.
could go on and on and on.
Mhm. Yeah, same. Absolutely. Yes, and maybe, when I do a deep dive into raw foods, I would love to have you back on so we can dig right into it because, I
Yeah.
mean, we might just go there right now, I don't know, but, I mean, when I first met my girlfriend, she was feeding, like, just not good dog food, really, at all.
Mhm, mhm,
And it was, it took a little bit of time, but gradually we got the dogs to a more expensive food,
mhm.
albeit, but they trimmed down, they were healthier, their stools were healthier, more firm.
Yep.
And then eventually I was like, screw it, they're going raw. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And
Uh-huh.
I prepared it all myself because, it is a little expensive.
Yeah,
But preparing it was so easy, it's you just and as far as, like, 100% nutritionally, complete and balanced, and it's like and Ian talks about that. Nothing is 100%. Even our diets, you
correct,
know? It's
correct,
impossible. We'd probably
correct.
be puking if we took everything at the same
Right?
time, it'd be so upsetting to the system, but
Yes,
I've
yes.
I feel like a better quality kibble or even a home prepared if as far as like not raw but maybe home cooked, gently
Sure.
cooked or steamed, that's fine too. And I think raw is the ultimate for health, overall health of the dog, really. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay, go get some chicken necks, and I'd order chicken feet. I was like, yes, I'm so glad, especially if you live in like more of an ethnic diverse area. You can get chicken feet and the necks and that.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
love it. The
Yeah,
innard. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Um